It's election day here in the United States, and many of you have speculated how we'd handle that here at Next Week News, since, we report from a week in the future, and the election still hasn't happened for all of you just yet. I can say we have some notable results, but I'm not sure if it's in our best interest to share them on here. You know what? They're still unofficial, okay? We must emphasize that at this juncture, even for us, they're still unofficial. But we are getting some unconfirmed reports out of Pennsylvania that the presidential election's speedrun record has been broken. Many had theorized that 5.5 seconds was the human limit for submitting a valid ballot after decades of incremental advances on that number. But we are getting unofficial but reputable reports out of Pennsylvania of a 5.47. Keep in mind, you have just one shot at this every 4 years. So I hope you can all appreciate just how absurd it is to 547 the presidential election. My goodness, what a clutch performance. We'd like to warn you of a potential post-Halloween scam where a bunch of high school-aged kids pull up in front of your house in a moving van with a piece of paper taped to it that says Rattling Centers for the Boneless, and they ask if you'd like to donate your decorative skeletons this year to help with bonelessness in your local community. I looked them up afterwards, and I can't find a phone number or a website for this organization anywhere. And their protocol, where there were like 8 of them in the van, but only the confident one came out and did all the talking, while the other 7 of them just nervously stood around and watched, was shady, at best. The guy in charge also told me that the IRS doesn't need receipts for any charitable donations of yard decorations over 10 feet tall, but I can't find any instances anywhere in the tax code where they'll just take your word for it. The guys they're sending out to do this are horribly untrained and misinformed. I'm still going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully I can find some information to get this all sorted, but they did peel off screeching with laughter after I handed over all my skeletons. That doesn't inspire a lot of confidence for me. Thanks to a combination of unexpectedly high winds and unexpectedly heavy traffic, the most efficient mode of local transportation next week will briefly be a hot air balloon. Now, we should note that this is only true if you're going exactly northeast, but this has exposed something that we've noticed for a long time. Why is hot air balloon not an option on the map services? Something like this was bound to happen. And whatever they're saying is the quickest time it'll take to get somewhere next week, you can have that in a hot air balloon. But for some reason, they don't want you to know that. We have some wonderful news from next week. Now you may be wondering, what's with all the getup? But I assure you that this is fantastic news. So I was walking through my living room this morning when I felt quite an odd sensation. So I did some investigating and I realized it was this. It had fallen off the shelf and was putting off just an incredible amount of heat. Now, I've picked up probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 11 to 14 books in my life, and I have never felt a book get this hot before. It's like a radiator. Obviously, we immediately had to figure out what this means, and as you can see, that's the book of sauces. So we asked around and talked to several incredibly knowledgeable people we've met online, and you guys, it's getting ready to add another sauce. We're going to be getting a whole new sauce soon. We just wanted to show you that real quick, but I assure you we are taking all the proper precautions and being very safe and respectful. That book has just an incredible amount of internal pressures going on right now. I really want to take a peek.